The pump house is a no-smoking establishment, and we would like that no video cameras or regular cameras be going on during tonight's performance. Thank you. Enjoy the show.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Pump House. We are, of course, in downtown La Crosse, or close to downtown anyway. It's about 2 blocks over this way. And about the same distance over here is the Cass Street Bridge. And running the full length underneath the bridge and all the way along this region is the mighty Mississippi River. It's a river that is great in history. Generations of people have been born and raised alongside of it. And it's likely that many of you here this evening, you have history with this river too. And perhaps a special feeling for the people of the region itself. Me, I was born and raised here. And for me, growing up along the river was so easy. I remember a time when I was just a young boy, and I had gone out to the river early in the morning. And you know how the fog just rolls off the waters out there? Well, I was sitting there on the bank, and I'm staring into the fog, and my imagination is just running wild. And suddenly, out of the fog soars this large, great blue heron. And it comes directly at me, and then it glides off to this boat dock near where I'm seated. And I'm thinking, this is a dinosaur. It is a pterodactyl. And it's not just a distant relative now. It is the younger and the smaller brother of the pterodactyl. It's a magical time. And then there's the backwater with all of the sights, sounds, and smells. There's the damp earth and the decaying logs that seem to be everywhere. And there's a warmth back there that is found really nowhere else. It sort of envelops you and it follows you wherever you are. And the sounds, there's a million frogs, and they're all croaking at the same time. And there's birds of, how many different kinds, with all of their warbles and their melodies and their songs. It's just beautiful. And the sights, the muskrats, the water, always working and always knowing just what they're doing. And there's the wood ducks. And there's the red-winged blackbirds that are flying these reconnaissance missions overhead, and if you happen to get too close to one of their nests, they sure let you know about it. There really is another world back there. And then there's the excitement that comes with the certainty that you are the only person who has ever been back there before. You're willing, of course, to invite your good friends over and share this special place with them. But you know that no one has ever been back there before except for you. And if you're going to talk about the river, you have to talk about fishing. And if I'm going to talk about fishing, I just have to tell you about my grandfather. Just a wonderful, wonderful man. He used to go down to the riverbanks as often as he could and fish. And I would go with him as often as I could, too. He used to tell these really, really, really neat stories, and Grandma would just roll her eyes, but they were real neat stories to me. And he'd get me out of scrapes. Not that I needed to get out of too often, but he was there to help me with that. And there was a time, not a scrape, it was about fishing now. There was a time that we had been fishing, and I think perhaps I got bored or something, but I went out to pick berries. And I had my fishing pole, and I did not want to lose it in the tall grass. So I walked up this embankment, and I laid it on the railroad tracks. Seemed like a good idea. And I walked down, and I'm picking the berries, and a short time later, I hear a train coming. And I look, and it is big. And it's shiny, and it's big, and it's shiny, and it's, where's my pole? Yeah, what had been a real nice pole is now 3 poles. And it's a great trick. If you'd like to know how to do it, I'd be more than happy to show you. Yeah. My grandpa, he didn't say too much about that. That's just the kind of man he was. And he was always whistling songs. And I remember thinking, Grandpa, those are not really songs. But I never said a word to the man because that whistling, it was music to my ears. I truly was a fortunate boy to have a grandfather just like that.
You and me.
remember its passing by. But I moved from boyhood into the teen years, and things were very much different. There were girls. Now, these were exciting times, but they were difficult times, too. One of my first dates I was ever on, I doubled with a best friend of mine, and we went to a movie, and then I drove the four of us around town, and then we drove out to this notorious parking spot. And I thought there was going to be some kissing. And we got there. My girlfriend, she turns on the radio. I think, well, she must want to listen to music. So I drive us back into town. The next day, my friend, he decided it's real important that he lets me know what an idiot he thinks I was. So he gives me a short course on the do's and don'ts of dating. Now, there were some difficult moments, but there were some lessons to be learned, too. Like the time the gal I was dating, she and I, we drove up a small road to Elma. Perhaps you've been up that way. We were up there spending the day watching the trumpeter swans. They spend time on the river as they're migrating over to Chesapeake Bay. Have you ever watched this dance of courtship that they do? There's an unfettered ease stood in such contrast to the awkwardness that I felt. My sense was that if we could be a little more natural in each other's presence, that things were going to be all right. These darts and glides that they do, these rare and just beautiful birds, in one respect, it seemed as if all of this was very purposeful. But at the same time, it had a randomness to it, at least to the human eye. It seemed to me, and I've come to believe, that we spend too much time thinking, and we would do well to spend more time, because we have our own instincts, that if we would embrace them more often. Now, what I had was a relaxing and insightful day that I spent with my female companion and the trumpeter swans. This is such a good environment to come from. But growing up in a small town, people tend to take care of you. Your hopes and your dreams become theirs as well. They support you, and they understand that whatever you make of your life has much to do with the investment that they have made in you, the imparted value of community. Many of the parents that I knew at this time, they chose small town living because it was good for raising the children. It was an investment. Well, I took all of this with me when I went off to college, and it was during those years that my own dreams and hopes, my aspirations, my ideas, they were all formed and made more clear by the experiences that I was having. By graduation, I was just itching to get off to a big city. Chose Washington, D.C. I thought there I could make my dreams become real. And I wonder if it's perhaps the idyllic settings that we have here that tend to generate a kind of idealism. But I had that idealism, and I took that along with my dreams, and I wanted to make them come true through public service. That's how I chose Washington. I'll tell you, life in a big city is a whole lot different than life in a small town. For one thing, people there seem to flourish under pressure. And there's every ethnic background imaginable there. And there's different foods, and there's different fashions, and different lifestyles. It's like tasting life in a concentrated form. And the senses are just bombarded continuously. I'd be less than honest if I didn't tell you it was a thrilling time. Yeah, I worked hard. I met people from all over the world. And I saw incredible poverty right alongside with the most incredible affluence. Makes sense, I don't know. But I did work hard. And I had many new experiences. I made many new friends. And many of these friends would comment on my Wisconsin accent. We don't have an accent. No. Anyway, what I vividly remember is the night.
Again. fun times.
Yeah, things couldn't have been going better. Oh, and another wonderful thing happened to me at this time. In addition to my job and my career going very, very well, I met and I married the woman that I knew I wanted to grow old with. I mean, this is the way life is meant to be. You work hard, you pay your dues, you prepare for the future, and you lead a happy and a fruitful life. It's just all so simple. So I thought. I learned unexpectedly that life is seldom so simple and rarely so predictable. I developed serious and chronic health problems. And as time went on, it slowly became apparent to me that endless pain and poor health were just going to become a part of my life. It was nothing I had any preparation for, nothing I had any experience with before. These were the most trying of times for me. It was a lesson in life and a lesson in pain all at the same time. I thought I was courageous. Found out that I wasn't. And I thought I had life all figured out. And I was humble. And I thought I had many, many friends. And I found out just who my friends really were. This was, I believe, God's first great test for me. And I found myself praying that I wouldn't fail it.
And to know no other feeling.
if you look up the word pain in the dictionary, it describes an intense physical hurt. I guess Mr. Webster had never been in love before. The physical hurt that I was feeling, the strain, was taking its toll on the woman that I loved. This most precious joy in my life, she was suffering because of my pain, but only in a much different way. I don't want to belabor the subject, but I do need to say this, that I am sure that the love she had for me was as intense and as real and as sincere as any love ever. And in this life, each and every one of us, we have a limit to the pain that we can endure. She reached her limit. She left. And I missed her so. Washington lost all of its meaning. The climb up that career ladder seemed superficial, frankly self-absorbed. And the circle of important people had lost their importance. And this frantic and adrenaline-driven lifestyle that's our nation's capital, it now seemed without a soul. And I knew that it was time to go home. Yeah. It was time to say goodbye to the traffic jams and to the commotion and to the constant business of people using people for political purposes. That's Washington. And it was time to say goodbye to the memories of my wife and the life that we had had together. It was time to see again familiar faces. Time to walk in the places that I had walked before. And time to breathe in the familiarity of the area. And I needed to cross the Cass Street Bridge. I just had no idea how much I had missed that.
and natural and free. Hello, Mississippi, goodbye to what never was me. Hello, Mississippi, goodbye to what never was me.
Well, I certainly hadn't anticipated coming back to Wisconsin like this. Like so many people, time and unforeseen circumstances had dealt me more negatives than I ever imagined that I would have to endure. But from somewhere inside was this growing conviction that a life of happiness and a life of purpose could be reestablished. And from the same place inside was this need to return back to the area where I was born and raised. And on my very first night back, I knew that I had made the right decision. Some old friends, some old and very good friends, they invited me over for a kind of welcome back party. And that summer evening was so incredibly beautiful. And the stars were so beautiful too. Their brightness actually surprised me. And I think that if we can see the stars clearly again, then we can envision our dreams clearly again. It was a connection I hadn't made in that way before. But I've come to believe that something is missing, that we as people are missing something when an enormous part of our universe is stolen from us by city lights or by pollution, or when we give it away with our busyness. Yeah. Starry night skies, they help us to become dreamers. summer was spent getting reacquainted with old buddies that I haven't seen much of since my high school and college days. It was an interesting reminder to me about just how strong and how unique early life friendships remain. And now what we did is made an art out of taking senseless banter and bringing it to extraordinary heights. And I loved every minute of it. It's real good to laugh with old friends. And what a great place to meet. The Trempealeau Hotel is overlooking the Mississippi. Mississippi, it is so striking that the senses are all just felt that much more intensely there. I left my friends up at the hotel. I walked on down to the river by myself. It was coming on evening, and what had begun as a drizzle, it now turned into an all-out downpour. I didn't even care. No, it was cleansing, it was refreshing, and I needed that.
As this rain comes down and the river moves up, all my troubles are washed from the shore. And it's then once again I'm a child of 10, never wanting for anything more. There were times when I'd search for my freedom, but my freedom is where I was born. On the banks of this old Mississippi, where time and truth roll along. Roll along, you river, don't forsake me. Roll along, you murky mystery. Roll along and take my trial with you. You are what freedom means to me. You said all along you'd be with me, although you left for the sea. Oh, Mississippi has its great walls. You are so beautiful to me. Sometimes I go swimming, sometimes fishing, sometimes I do nothing at all. Had the sun on my back, I drew the train on the track, never caring where it might go. There were times that I'd search for my freedom, but my freedom was where I was born. On the banks of this old Mississippi, where time and truth roll along. Roll along, you river, don't forsake me. Roll along, oh murky mystery. Roll along and take my trials with you. You are what freedom means to me. Said all along you'd be with me, although you left for the sea. Oh, Mississippi has its rainfall. You are so beautiful to me. Oh, Mississippi has its rainfall. You are so
That Saturday night at the hotel had already had the promise of being a very, very great evening. But the thunder and the lightning, it just sort of charged the air. And it confirmed what we already knew. This was going to be a great, great night. So I left the river, I walked back up to the hotel, and the people were just starting to roll on in. Come on in.
floor of the pine. I feel the rhythm but know the time. All I can see is that baby in mine. I don't think there might be romance. Not now, honey, 'cause I gotta dance, so let's dance.
Coming back to this area, I needed to jumpstart my life, to reinvent myself. And my very soul needed to be here. But I'm running into people who just can't wait to get out of this area. They want to pursue dreams elsewhere. They have new experiences that they want to have. They just want to do it somewhere else. You know I understood that, of course. And if I was asked my opinion, I would encourage them to pursue those dreams, but be open to the very real possibility of a surprise or two as to where and when and how happiness and purpose in life just may find you. Now I'm sure that some of your discoveries, your experiences are similar to mine. When the unexpected, the unplanned, they just kind of tear at your life, and you've exhausted all the resources that you have, and you've done everything that you know how to do, it's then that important people come into your life. You're given new tools, and the old, it becomes new and fresh and exciting all over again. And that's when the healing takes place. And I've discovered that it takes place on several levels. I'll explain. Nature heals. I walk through the hills, smelling the lilacs, digging in our flower gardens. And beauty heals. Music, poetry, a good novel, an art museum. And meditation heals. Prayer, quiet evenings spent alone, walking along the banks of the river. And laughter heals. And helping others heals. And learning to accept ourselves as we are, that heals. And relationships heal. One of the most healing relationships in my life was with my hometown minister. Now, this man was my minister, but he was also my friend. And at this point in my life, it was real nice to have both. This man, he had that rare blend of wisdom along with a perfect sense of timing.
If you ever want to go where no one will ever
There was this woman in our circle of friends, and she had this energy, this spirit that caught my attention. I wasn't sure if she had any interest in me at all, but I knew that I did in her. When I was in her presence, I had this unexplainable motion and energy, and I wondered if she felt it. I tell you, I was left with a mind just full of questions. Talks, the glances, the warmth that I felt in her presence, even when I was thinking about her. I just had to know how she felt. So I decided that the very next time I met her, I was going to lay all of my apprehensions aside and I was going to ask her. Regardless of where this relationship would go, I'll tell you the most important discovery for me was that I could care for someone again. And I just had to know how she felt.
If I should ask for this nocturnal dance, I tell you that I would be there. My life's not been easy, it won't be tomorrow. I tell you I would be there. I don't understand why you care for this man. He is perfectly clear. I'm glad you're here. I want you near. together for our whole life through. We'll walk toward tomorrow in joy and in sorrow. The other will always be there. We'll bring to this dance an endless romance. I'm telling you I will be there. So holding on to this predestined home. It's a moment I've wanted to share. One for each other and never another. Forever I will be there.
My time back in the area, family, friends, the bluffs, and the river, it's all been very healing for me. And I suspect that to a greater or lesser degree, each one of us have a need for that kind of healing. Perhaps there's physical disabilities, maybe personal tragedies, maybe financial setbacks. It's at times like that that we truly discover just how important family and friends and the natural beauty are to us. And if some late evening you happen to be driving across the Cass Street Bridge and you see a person just slowly walking along, they're gazing up at the stars, looking out across the river, you need to be concerned. You know they're just coming home. And remember to wave. Thanks for coming.